Hello, hope everyone's doing well. And today we're going with the Arbiter boss fight for August. So this will be Arbiter Strength. Now we're going over her stats, her abilities, her skills, general strategy of how to deal with her, my team comps. Now this will be for the hard mode difficulty. Now hard mode I wouldn't say you have to do. I would say normal mode you should do if you can, just because there's really good rewards from normal mode. Hard mode's a little less, so if you have time to do it, cool. If not, oh well. Miss out on a little bit of rewards, but not as much as if you miss out on normal mode. The boss is level 130. Now, the reason why I point out the boss's level in particular is I haven't really been mentioning its past videos for various guides, but the reason why you want to have your ships level as much as you can is because there is a level differential mechanic in terms of dealing more damage and taking less damage. So the example on the wiki is for every one level your ship is above that of an enemy, you deal 2% more damage and receive 2% less damage, with a maximum cap at 50% increased damage output and reduced damage taken. This also works in reverse. So if you're under leveled, you take for each level is 2% per level more damage and deal less damage. So for this boss fight at level 130, even if all your ships are max leveled 125, you will still be doing 10% less damage and taking 10% more damage. So you'll want to have your ships leveled up as much as possible so they can survive and do more damage to this boss. So if you feel like you're struggling a bit and taking a whole lot of damage, this is definitely part of it, is being under leveled and just, being at max level, you still be taking more damage because of this differential mechanic. Next is the adaptive tunings. You'll want to make sure you have them as high as you can get them. The effective caps are as follows. For hard mode, 203 offense, 203 survival, and 156 adaptive. And as you can see, there's a huge difference between having no adapts and being all the thresholds. So 203, 203, 156. Obviously, if you're playing upside and you actually get to the Arbiter, you'll have more than 0 adapts. That's just a show of how much difference it makes to have full adapts. Over a million HP down, firepower considerably down, torpedo down a lot, anti-air down a lot. So yeah, definitely makes a big difference having those adapts in place. So, first skill, when the enemy flagship's HP falls below 30%, firepower and torpedo stat increase by 100% until the end of battle. So once it starts getting low, it's going to be dealing even more damage. So what I recommend doing is saving your strongest fleet for when she gets below that threshold or about to hit that threshold. So if you can get her down to about 40% HP or 35, just before she starts getting really, really strong, those like extra buffs, then use that last fleet just to dogpile her and just take her out as fast as possible. So like saving your carriers for the end, and you just save up to the 6 airstrikes or however many they can. That's one thing nice about carriers that battleships can't do, is they can save up airstrikes and just dump 6 at once instead of 3 at once. That's really cool. That's a slight advantage carriers have for battleships for this boss fight. Next skill, every 20 seconds, the boss will generate a shield that changes the attack damage it receives to 1. This shield can deflect a maximum of 15 attacks and lasts for 8 seconds. The boss is just going to be not taking any damage effectively. Be aware of the timing on this, because every 20 seconds, you should be able to fire your battleship's barrage, get them shooting their volleys off before that, and your carriers can wait a little bit. I believe mine are like around the 20-second mark anyway. Hakuryu is the slowest at like 23 point something. I'll just wait. And if you just want to deal with the shield as fast as possible, not wait those 8 seconds, having a Vanguard with fast firing guns that can just hit that shield and get it gone as soon as possible, that's another way of dealing with it. So yeah, just pay attention to the timing so you're not wasting damage. And the last skill that is listed is the enemy flagship deals 50% increased damage to your Vanguard fleet. So this is in addition to the level differential. I'm not sure if this is going to stack or not, or it already hits that 50% cap. So be aware that you definitely want to have your Vanguards at level 125, because they are going to struggle with staying alive. Even if you're very good at dodging stuff, you're just going to get hit. There's too much stuff to dodge it all. So I would recommend having a very, very good tank in your fleet, as well as having survival gear. This is stuff that buffs HP, evasion, like the washing machine, cosmic kicks, that kind of stuff. That way your Vanguard can stay alive so that your main fleet can actually do the big damage that's required to beat the boss. And then she has an additional effect. She will spawn a special barrier during combat. And it's not right away, it's a little bit later in the boss fight. But while it's in effect, the boss takes 25% less damage from shelling and airstrikes, and also in flip the boss herself will do 15% less damage. So you get a little bit of reprieve from that 50% extra damage to your Vanguard during this time. And the barrier can absorb up to 160,000 HP and can only be deployed once. So it's not spamming this shield. But you don't get any extra effects for breaking the shield. It's not like the other Arbiter spawns the jellyfish and it takes more damage after you beat the jellyfish. This one just has a shield, shield's gone, she doesn't get those buffs. So yeah, just be able to do the damage. It doesn't say anything about torpedoes in this. However, when I was testing it, it seemed that the shield was absorbing some of the damage from the torpedoes and was being damaged by the torpedoes. So I don't think you can sneak around and cheat it by using really strong torpedo users, although that will eat through the shield pretty quickly since they can dump those torpedoes really fast. So yeah, that's a shield to be aware of. And then during the fight itself, it's not listed, the boss will shoot a projectile out that's fairly slow moving, and that will then, when it lands, it will spawn a circle as an area effect, and that will either slow your ships down or speed them up. So I noticed the first time the boss shoots it, it has a slowing effect in the circular area, and the second time it has a speed up effect. And the way you can tell the difference is the slowing effect will be blue with arrows pointing down, and the speed up effect will have a green circle with green arrows pointing up. Spawn. Be aware of that. You can use it to your advantage for the speed one and just stay out of the way for the slowing one. The boss also will, around this time, start doing slam attacks, so she'll jump and kind of hover in the air for a second and just do a large slam attack that will make the screen shake and also have a large barrage that comes out. And it'll be either split in two pieces or one piece. It depends on the timing of the boss fight, so be aware of that. Also, when there is 20 seconds remaining in the boss fight, she will start spawning a circle that covers most of the battlefield, and this will continuously pull your Vanguard fleet in towards her, and that'll make it a little bit harder to dodge stuff because you're fighting against that. You're trying to dodge her projectiles, so yeah, just be aware towards the end of the fight, she will start sucking you in. And the boss fight is pretty short, so as you can see over here, below the boss's level, it shows she has medium armor. So semi-armor piercing rounds technically will have the best modifier against them. After that, it's the AP guns and their variants also have very good modifiers against this boss. So the Georgia gun is, once again, very, very good. So if you get that from PR2, get that from the Gear Lab, get that from the Prototype Shop, is a very, very good gun. I'd highly recommend getting it. Not the best against light, but against medium and heavy, it's still an extremely good gun. It's been around for a long time, so I definitely recommend this one. Other options are, I believe the Flandra gun is also pretty good for this. It's right here. Got a good modifier there. Champagne gun, also a very good option. See? Good against medium. Where are the... I believe these are the semi-armor piercing ones. Yes, these are the Marco Polo guns. So 150, so this has the highest modifier. But as you can see, it's a lot slower. Doesn't have that same firepower buff. So yeah, it's just a bit of a trade-off. So whatever you have, and then the like a Zumo gun, another AP gun that's pretty good. Bit lower armor modifier, unfortunate, but and then the HE guns are like 110, 100. So I would recommend using armor piercing for this. The Musashi gun is also decent. Yeah, it's got 140, but it's just so slow. It does hit like a truck, but it's just very slow. So yeah, I would definitely recommend using some sort of an AP gun for this boss fight on your battleships, except on Musashi. You can run the Azuma gun, but I ran this on her, and it ran just fine. Didn't have much of an issue. So yeah, have a good battleship backline. You know, I have Vanguard for buff, and then New Jersey and Musashi do the big damage. I could use Ulrich for her slow, or Bismarck 2 for her slow, but I like using this combination because what I'm used to at this point. For budget options, instead of Vanguard, you could use West Virginia Retrofit, as she provides some very nice buffs. That was a good update. And I have a kind of a combo of, I have A gear here for a slowing ability and her armor break. That's really nice. So armor break is also a really good effect to have. And then I have torpedo damage because I have a mixed fleet here. Obviously, if I had like Plymouth and Casino here, I could have more of a dedicated battleship boss fleet. But I kind of mix it in because it seemed to work well enough. That was my battleship fleet. Let's move on to my carrier fleet. Before that, I should tell you how much damage it did. So, Let's go back in. It got the boss down to about 60 health bars from the 3 attempts I did. I wanted to check stuff out. So yeah, got down to 60, so 40% health down for my battleships. Decent amount. Obviously, if I optimized battleship a little more, I could have done better. But I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of cursed my battleships. They just don't do as well as my carriers, even for stuff they should. With this boss fight, it doesn't seem like it really favors one or the other. And then next up is my carriers. I have Shinano and Hakuryu doing big damage. For the planes, the torpedo bombers, I have the Ryuseis, very, very solid. Any converging torpedo bombers are good, so you could run Prototype Seonkai. You can run this, the JU-87. This one's also pretty good. When I was going through the wiki and sorting by DPS, this one was second after the Ryusei, so good option. You could run the Tenzinkai, the Tenzin. So here's the Tenzinkai, and then the Tenzin. Basically, you want conversion torpedoes, so they all hit the boss. And then next up is Implacable. She is here for her slowing ability, and also she does a ton of damage. So she also has the Ryuseis, and then she also has the Flying Flapjack to help with her timing purposes. So she launched her planes closer to when Hakuryu and Shinano do, because she's a bit faster than those two. So the Flying Flapjack is good on her because it slows her down. And Hakuryu, I have this 210 rides on her because I have them. Obviously, it's not a good budget option for people because these are expensive to get. You can get them from PR4, you can get them from the prototype shop, but that's about it. So it's not a very good budget option. If you have the Sky Raider, it's also really good. But once again, this is limited to an event, so you can't just go out and grab it. But for dive bombers, this Northern Parliament dive bomber from PR5, so the Chocolov one, is pretty decent. I don't have it leveled up. I didn't have one made until I made this video, so that's why it's like this. But very nice spread of armor modifiers. Obviously, it's not a specialty one, but it's pretty solid. It's got 6 bombs. Relatively quick. But the go-to, if you don't have anything else, and just the go-to in general, is the Helldiver. Got good bombs, variety of them. Relatively quick, and it's extremely easy to get. And you can also go to the Gear Lab version of the Helldiver and upgrade it. So if you don't have a slower, like Implacable, Arc Royal, Centaur, Formidable, Auguzon Percival, any of the people who have a slowing ability that is reasonably to get the boss, I believe this boss is stationary enough at times that you can just time it with that. But then you have to worry about the shields and their timing and all that. So I would recommend having a slower, as I always do with carrier boss fleets. So I mentioned this in my last month's video about the carrier boss fleets, but I'm going to extend it to this one just to reiterate. Let's say, relatively new, or you don't have a whole lot of gear. If you have enough gear to get one fleet fully kitted out, so one carrier fleet fully kitted out, or one battleship fleet fully kitted out, that's all you really need for Operation Siren. For boss fleet, for like these Arbiter bosses and various Siren bosses. Because what you can do is when you're in this stage, you can change out their equipment. So let's say you only have one set of planes or one set of battleship guns. What you can do is you can go in and change them out. It's like, okay, I use New Jersey. Let's switch to FDG. Let's switch to Howe, Richelieu, whoever you have. So that's a nice option that they let you do, is you can swap your gear around. That way, you're not being completely screwed over by not having a ton of gear. So yeah, I highly recommend doing that. For prioritizing gear is to have one good fleet for boss fights. That way you can mix and match and swap stuff around. So yeah, that was my analysis of the Arbiter. That was my analysis of the Arbiter boss fight for August. This will be Strength, Hard Mode. Hope you found it useful. Hope you enjoyed. If you found it useful, and you think someone else might, please share it out. Hopefully it helps them clear the boss fight. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.